Well, somebody was going to snatch him up, but this is an interesting twist. So I have not talked about James Gunn in a little bit, not since his frankly screwed up firing from Disney and getting kicked off Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't want to rehash all of that, but just for context and as a reminder, James Gunn was in the middle of working on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 when some people politically opposed to him, because James Gunn is very outspoken in his political beliefs, basically trolled through a bunch of his old tweets, dug up some stuff that was, let's go with blue, not particularly in good taste humor from well before his hiring at Disney, and then created a big stink about it. And Disney, as most companies, most big corporations are wont to do, cut him loose rather than risk having him tarnish the brand. Even though it became fairly clear in the weeks that followed that there was massive support for rehiring Gunn, including within the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy. Dave Bautista has been the most outspoken about that. Pretty much anybody paying close attention to how this all went down, if they said anything at all, they tended to side with Gunn. Disney did not rehire him, and well, now he's found other work. And that other work is with Warner Brothers working on a DC property. So the story broke that James Gunn has been hired to write the script for, with an option to direct, Suicide Squad 2. Now, this... if this pans out, if this happens, and if it's good, and if it makes strong returns, Disney's gonna have egg on its face even more than it already does. Because the thing is that ultimately, the initial decision to fire Gunn was a knee-jerk protect the brand reaction. They didn't look into the stuff that was dug up as well as they should have to understand where it was coming from, how old it was, the context under which it was said, and the context under which it was dug up. They didn't do that. They just smelled scandal, cut him loose, and moved forward, which is that's your standard corporate procedure in something like that. Now, the reason that they didn't reverse the decision, despite basically everybody arguing that they should have, that came down much more to protecting the executives who made the decision rather than protecting the brand, because it's your standard just corporate executive level playbook that if you realize you made a mistake, you don't, and definitely not in the immediate aftermath, you don't reverse it, you don't double back on it, you don't second guess yourself, because it makes you look weak as a leader. What you do is you power through it and you hope that your future successes are enough to get people's mind off that mistake that you made. And maybe down the road you can go, yeah, that could have been him. But in the immediate aftermath, you do not acknowledge that you made a mistake. You power forward, because otherwise it just brings every decision you make into question. Well, as a leader, he said this, but is that going to be reversed? He reversed this other thing. So the fact that Gunn was not rehired had much more to do with protecting corporate rear ends, executives specifically, rather than protecting the brand of Marvel and Disney as a whole. And yeah, I'm not going to go so far as to say executives are going to get fired over this, but there are definitely some. I would not be shocked if a few executives are quietly reshuffled, or if they just have a lot more scrutiny on their future projects for this. Because now, not only have they lost basically the guy who constructed the entire Marvel cosmic end of the MCU and was doing it phenomenally well, but he's now gone to the direct competition in the same genre. So yeah, this looks bad. But let's set that context and all that nonsense aside. Let's just talk base level. James Gunn working on Suicide Squad. That has the potential to be really quite good, because James Gunn, look, I don't think James Gunn has made a bad movie that he's directed. I think some of the scripts he's written haven't always turned into good movies, but basically things that he saw through to the end, I would say the iffiest one was probably Super, but even Super was pretty good and had some really fascinating ideas, even if it didn't all come together in the end. So the guy's got a really strong track record, but now, again, I'll point it out, he's not yet hired to direct. He's currently only hired to script, and I'm betting that that is an allowance that they made for him. I have no doubt that Warner Brothers wants him to direct, but you know, James Gunn, he's a pretty savvy guy. You'll notice that of all the people talking about how he should be rehired and everything, he himself kept pretty quiet, and he's been pretty just clever, and you know, doing the smartest move available to him under the circumstances throughout this whole process. I think he's pretty intelligent. I think he's been paying attention, and if he has been paying attention, then he knows that what happened to the first Suicide Squad was David Ayer, who worked on the script and directed that, was given an incredibly short amount of time to work on the script, and it had massive interference in the direction. So whatever reassurances Warner Brothers might have given James Gunn, my suspicion is that he said, look, I'll write the script, and once I have a feel for how that process went, and if I can get the sense that you guys aren't going to be, you know, breathing down my neck every step of the way and hire a trailer company to recut the movie when I'm done, then maybe I'll direct it. It's my suspicion that he's going to see what the process of writing for Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers DC stuff is like before he makes the commitment to actually direct it. Now, there's a decent chance it'll go well for him because the DCEU is not under the same management in terms of the specific executives in charge of it now that it was at the time Suicide Squad happened. So, again, trying to step away from the corporate stuff completely, looking at the creative possibilities, James Gunn works with ensembles really well. I mean, that's what Guardians of the Galaxy flies on. It's terrific team dynamics. And Suicide Squad has the potential to do that. The movie didn't deliver. It had a handful of decent performances and a couple of interesting scenes, but on the whole, just didn't pull together at all. It was a jumbled mess. But especially if he gets to work with Margot Robbie, if he gets Will Smith back, you can throw other people in there. You're not stuck with the other characters. You don't need to have Flag again. You don't need to have Killer Croc or Catan again. You could have them again, and maybe even, James Gunn will figure out something to do with them that is better. But I figure the only two who you need, three. The three that you need to have are going to be Margot Robbie, Will Smith, and Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. That's it. Everybody else is up for grabs, and that's kind of the nature of the Suicide Squad. You can move characters in or out because, it's a suicide mission. People aren't expected to survive, or maybe the skill set of somebody like Captain Boomerang doesn't make any sense for the mission that this new group is getting sent on, so they pull somebody else instead. Though, to be honest, Captain Boomerang's skill set didn't really make sense last time either. Let's not dwell on that. But James Gunn is really good at balancing group dynamics. I mean, that's what we've been watching him do with Guardians of the Galaxy. So as far as properties goes, this is a really good fit for him. And especially if Warner Brothers leaves him alone, just lets him do his thing, which they might do. It does seem like they're realizing that the level of corporate oversight and interference that they had been engaging in wasn't helping. It's distinctly possible in most of the cases where it's pretty clear that there was a lot of big stepping in from the higher ups, that maybe the product that they had wasn't that good in the first place. That's distinctly possible, I'd say, with at least a handful of these, but them stepping in and doing all this extra stuff definitely didn't help. And they seem to at least for the time being have realized that much. Now, the only reason I feel a little bit bummed out about this, because I'm not bummed out about this because it hurts Disney. I don't really care. As much as Disney makes a ton of products that I like, I have no particular love of Disney as a corporation, so, you know, but I'm not like, yeah, suck it to Disney, but neither am I like, oh man, that's a bummer for them. I don't really care. The only reason I'm kind of bummed out is a podcasting friend of mine, a guy by the name of Diablo Frank. He had said that if James Gunn is going to get hired by another studio, that he hoped he'd get hired by Universal to take over and retool their Dark Universe, the thing that The Mummy was supposed to kick off. And I kind of want to see that more than him doing the Suicide Squad. But since I'm not going to get that from the look of it, I want to see what he does with the Suicide Squad. I want to see what kind of dynamics he pulls. I want to see what characters he sticks in. I want to see what kind of scenario he throws them into. Because he gets these kinds of characters, and he gets that whatever kind of situation you put them in has to pull out interesting things from the characters and from their interactions. It's not enough just to throw everything at the wall and throw all these characters at a threat and you get a movie out of it, because the first Suicide Squad was barely a movie. It was fun in parts, and I know some people like it. I have a coworker who like unabashedly loves it, and he can't really seem to explain to me why. But I don't know. Maybe part of my problem is I've seen now 2 animated Suicide Squad films that are way better. But yeah, James Gunn directing a Suicide Squad. Well, writing, possibly directing a Suicide Squad movie. I want to see that. What are your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's also a whole bunch of buttons and links you can push. Click on them. They take you places, including to my Patreon if you feel like it. But if you don't worry about it, because remember, folks, you are the council, and I just run the meetings. Until next time, this council is adjourned.